Tensions flaring between Nancy Pelosi and progressive lawmakers such as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She voted against last month's border aid bill. The speaker dismissing the influence of the freshman Democrat and other freshman Democrats, telling the New York Times, quote, all these people have their public whatever and their Twitter world, but they don't have any following. They're 4 people, and that's how many votes they got. If the left doesn't think I'm left enough, so be it. We have to have a solution, not just a Twitter fight, end quote. AOC, she's firing back, tweeting, quote, I find it strange when members act as though social media is not important. They set millions of dollars on fire to run TV ads so people can see their message. I haven't dialed for dollars once this year and have more time to do my actual job. Yet we'd rather campaign like it's 2008. What do you say, Dana?
Look, I admire her fight, right, and the spice that she brings to it.
You're talking about AOC.
Yeah, but I also admire Nancy Pelosi because she can count votes. And if you are in a deep blue district and any Democrat's going to get elected in your district, then yes, it is easier to be a firebrand and a disruptor. It's easier to do all of those things. And Speaker Pelosi has a different responsibility and a different role. Like, her job is to try to keep the majority and to try to figure out a way to do as many of the things that Democrats want to do with the reality that they live in. And if they continue to go the way that they are, those 31 districts in the House that helped Nancy Pelosi become Speaker again could very easily flip back to being Republican when President Trump is at the top of the ticket, bringing Republicans back in because not as many people vote in a midterm. The other thing is, she did this interview, Speaker Pelosi did an interview with Maureen Dowd in the New York Times. Got a lot of attention. That's where these quotes come from, where she's saying that these guys they'll only have their Twitter game. But it came at an interesting time because she had just lost a fight within her caucus, but it wasn't from the left. It was from the middle. Right? They said we have to vote for this funding for the border. So I think that she's trying to be wise, and I think that I understand wanting to push up against her, but if I had to put Pelosi's political skills up against AOC's at this moment for what they need, if I were the Democrats, I'd say, can't you guys just work together? Because together they could be quite powerful, but I don't know if it's possible.
Well, I just don't think there's any way that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is on the same power game level as Nancy Pelosi, and the votes just clearly show that. But, Greg,
yes,
what was interesting to me is that there was a note of contempt in the way that Pelosi spoke about social media and Twitter.
Right.
And then you see this punchback from AOC saying, oh, you're living in 2008.
She's right.
What do you say?
I enjoy this fight. This is so much fun. The Dems are going through a similar convulsion the Republicans experienced, 3 or 4 years ago. Trump rattled the party, and he rattled the party using the similar tools, which was social media. And we all thought, we didn't all think it was crazy, but we were laughing and enjoying it. And then he beat everybody with it, And I think AOC is a chip off the old Trump. I think she knows how to work it, and I think that they could probably learn from that. It does bother me that she didn't vote for the bill. I mean, that's kind of strange when you accuse others of hurting migrant children and then you deny their aid. That seems to suggest that maybe this is a political, cynical act of theater on her part when you maybe let people suffer and die before cooperating with the president. It's kind of sad.
All right, so, Jesse, what I'm reminded of is that John Boehner, Paul Ryan, I think Paul Ryan just left because he couldn't handle the Freedom Caucus, the whole Tea Party thing anymore. Here's Pelosi now dealing with much the same dynamic, except it's not the far right, but it's the far left.
Well, I think Boehner's got to have a glass of cab and laughing at Nancy because he thinks, you think you have it bad.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's wine anymore.
Maybe something else. She has 4 bomb throwers. He had dozens of Tea Party members starting in 2010. He had them for many, many years. They made his life hell over spending and the debt ceiling, and he did his best to keep the beef behind closed doors.
Right.
Nancy seems to keep having these public spats, and she's only got 4 little bomb throwers, and it's only been 4 months, and she's already had fights about anti-Semitism, impeachment, progressivism, and now the border funding thing.
The Green New Deal.
The Green New Deal. And she would just be much better served if she would let her whip team handle the drama and ignore them. And now she's nicknamed them the Squad. She's elevating them in the media. And I think this is wrong, but I do agree with AOC. you shouldn't diminish the power of social media. She doesn't dial for dollars. She can leverage that platform, very powerful. And Nancy doesn't understand that, and I think she should soon.
All right. So, Katie, what's interesting to me is I think the people on the right are hoping that there's a big rift and a big fight coming, right? But I don't know that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is at the level that she really could take on Nancy Pelosi.
I mean, they're not hoping for it. It's already here, and we're watching it play out, and that's the reason why Nancy Pelosi is having to answer questions in every interview about this new caucus of people who everyone's saying isn't very powerful, but if she's being asked about it and having to comment on it and having to, every presidential candidate has to say if they believe in the Green New Deal and Medicare for all, guess who's driving that narrative? These four people. I bet they wish they could go back to the days of being on the cover of Rolling Stone when Nancy Pelosi was on the cover with Ilhan Omar. They had a little bit more, cooperation then, but this is too past, right? So Nancy Pelosi is doing what Dana talked about. She's looking to govern, looking for policies, looking for results to go back to these districts and say, we're not just talking about things, we're actually passing legislation that is not getting passed in the Senate because the mean Republicans won't take it up. AOC and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are interested in the cultural battle overall. They are activists. They don't have to worry about getting reelected in their districts necessarily. They want to change the narrative as a whole with the whole country, and they're doing that. I mean, people are talking about them. The media oxygen is being taken up by them. Last week, AOC accused the Border Patrol of forcing illegal immigrants to drink out of toilets, and that was something that everyone had to respond to. So there are two paths here, and I think they're just different at this point. Whether Nancy Pelosi will be victorious, right now, she is.
And the media did a great job following up on that accusation.
Right. Well,
we really got to the bottom of that toilet drinking.
But by the way, I just think that she got 4 votes, Katie. I mean, really,
Sure.
clearly the strength of the caucus, the overwhelming majority went with Pelosi.
In Washington,
Yeah,
correct.
that's what I'm
But
saying.
overall, with the country,
Right, but
when you
Dana's
look at the
point
shift
is
in the
we're talking about
ideology, they're having an
actual
impact.
votes in Congress.
Right, but you can do both at the same time. You can deal with the overall narrative and direction of the country, and then you can deal with the impact of governing.
Well, I
and
think that
votes
in
on
the
Capitol
Trump
Hill.
era, I think there are a lot of Democrats who want Pelosi to be more aggressive, but you know what? You still have to know how to count the votes.
Yes.